With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown. Our top stories: police warn of risks associated with marijuana-infused edibles in St. Kitts and Nevis. EBJ Harmonics Steel Orchestra clinches fifth consecutive title at Sugar Mass 53 Panorama. Guyana's president highlights growth of non-oil sector. The National Workers' Union in St. Lucia is voicing dissatisfaction over recent announcements concerning wage increases for public sector employees. Internationally, Yemen's Houthis defiant after new U.S. strikes. Now, the details. As marijuana-infused edibles become increasingly popular in social settings across St. Kitts and Nevis, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force has issued a stern warning regarding their consumption. With the recent legislative changes permitting specific uses of cannabis, citizens need to understand the potential risks associated with edibles, which may have unpredictable effects due to varying potencies and delayed onset of symptoms. Marijuana-infused edibles can be found in various forms, ranging from baked goods to candies and beverages. However, due to the nature of these products, the police emphasize the importance of exercising vigilance when consuming them. The police have issued several tips to help individuals navigate these situations responsibly. Consumers are encouraged to inquire about the ingredients of food items being served, mainly baked goods and sweets. Hosts are advised to label marijuana-infused items clearly to prevent any unintentional consumption. Those unsure about the contents should refrain from consuming items that are not explicitly marked as non-infused. Individuals choosing to consume marijuana-infused edibles should begin with a very small portion. Since the effects of edibles take longer to manifest compared to smoking marijuana, it is crucial to wait at least 1 to 2 hours before considering additional consumption. Moreover, engaging in the combined use of edibles with alcohol or other substances is discouraged, as it can intensify the effects and lead to adverse reactions. Each person's response to marijuana can significantly differ based on various factors such as metabolism, body weight, and prior experience. For those new to consuming edibles, it is recommended to do so in a safe and familiar setting rather than in a party environment, which may increase the risk of overconsumption. Symptoms of overconsumption can include anxiety, confusion, nausea, dizziness, and an accelerated heart rate. Should anyone experience these symptoms, seeking medical attention promptly is advised to ensure safety and well-being. For those hosting gatherings, it is paramount to inform guests about the presence of marijuana-infused edibles. Hosts should ensure these items are stored or served responsibly, minimizing the risk of accidental ingestion by children or individuals who wish to avoid marijuana. Encouraging friends to exercise caution and respecting individual choices regarding consumption are also essential during social events. The legislative landscape in St. Kitts and Nevis reflects a progressive shift toward the regulation of cannabis, allowing for medical use and the decriminalization of possession for adults over the age of 18. However, while the laws have adjusted to accommodate these changes, the police force remains vigilant in promoting responsible usage and public safety concerning marijuana-infused products. With this new freedom comes a shared responsibility among citizens to prioritize their health and the well-being of those around them, ensuring a safe and enjoyable environment as the use of cannabis continues to evolve in the Twin Island nation.
They came, they paraded, and they left their mark. Officials from Discover Dominica, DDA, showcased their island's culture during Juve morning and a variety of carnival activities, from waving their big flags on Juve morning to running mass Dominic ads during carnival events. Dominica's presence was unmistakable. Public Relations and Communication Specialist with DDA, Monel Alexis, highlighted the importance of these efforts during a recent sit-down interview.
Well, cross-promotion is very important to us as a small island state, and we felt that a lot of people visit St. Kitts. We understand that your market is very targeted, and we love St. Kitts, and we want to invite Kittitians in particular to come to Dominica for Carnival. By the way, it's March 3rd and 4th, and we also want to welcome the people who travel to St. Kitts for their Carnival to come to Dominica for our Carnival Mass Dominique. So it's been a pleasure being here. Your people are amazing. They're among the friendliest persons I've ever encountered in different Caribbean islands. The camaraderie, everything was just amazing. It would be remiss of me to not say thank you to the different organizers we have worked with.
St. Kitts will also be prominently featured during Mass Dominic, which runs from January 18th to March 5th as part of a cross-promotion initiative.
Events. What I will tell you, what has happened with Dominica or promotion here will be seen in Dominica or will be reflected in Dominica as well. So during our carnival experience, you'll see ads from our broadcast, with the broadcast of our sunrise event, broadcast of our Miss Dominica pageant, etc. You will see St. Kitts ads on there as well. You will see St. Kitts being prominent at our carnival as well. So again, cross promotion, supporting each other as islands is amazing. So we at Discover Dominica Authority very pleased to have forged that relationship with St. Kitts and Nevis, and we look forward to a fruitful, beneficial, mutual relationship moving forward. We have started.
Discover Dominica Authority has also identified the St. Kitts Music Festival as a key target for future collaborations for the strengthening regional ties through cultural promotions.
Partnership is always great. That is something I need to discuss with my CEO and see what we can do moving forward to that. But I will say your lineup is amazing. I'm looking forward. I may have to dock book or something, guys. But I'm looking forward to coming to St. Kitts for your festival. Based on what I have learned, I've never attended your festival yet. But based on all the comments and things that I've been reading, your festival is one that needs to be attended. And every year I keep saying, Manel, we're going. And I just cannot make it. But next year, 2025, I will be there.
Public Relations and Communication Specialist with Discover Dominica, Monel Alexis. Preparations are in full swing for the 2024-2025 National Grand Parade, which will feature 5 troops. Director of Carnival Clement Ogaru provided insights into what patrons can expect for this year's event, including confirmation that the parade route will remain unchanged.
Well, we have 5 Grand Parade troops that are registered. Of course, we call them mass bands. The parade route is the same as last year. It starts at 11 a.m. in the morning at the Dr. William Connor School. It comes all the way down to the Paul Southwell Drive, I think it is, in the industrial site. The stage will be where it normally is. That will be the last judging points. And so guys are hoping to come back into town and, have a grand old time for the parade as well. We're hoping to ensure a better flow this year. As you know, last year we had quite a few wide gaps, but we have a command center, drone intensified, making sure that's going to ensure that our parade keeps up and that we get back into town at a decent hour so that our vendors, of course, can, make some money.
Over the years, the National Carnival Committee has focused on ensuring all troops move off on time. Ogaru told Ben FM that challenges arise more from the flow of groups along the parade route than from their initial start time.
Well, we have started on time the last couple of years. The issue, we've started right at 11 last year or just after. The issue is not necessarily the start time. The issue is basically ensuring that these guys are moving it along. And what we found last year is that we did have what we call carnival marshals. There basically was not a lot of respect for the marshals from some of the people who were playing mass. They just didn't ignore them when they asked them to move on. So a stronger presence this year. We have carnival security enforced or enhanced, I should say, by a local security company, and with the command center monitoring all the, with overhead shots of how the parade is going. I think that's one of the things that, we're working on this year. But as I said, we're starting at 11. That's not our issue at all, the start time. What the issue is getting these people to move along in an orderly, and a timely fashion so that we can get back into town. I mean, yeah, that you want to have fun, but yes, we've given them, and they've accepted, again, the long route, so hopefully this year we'll be able to manage it better as it relates to the gaps.
According to the Royal St. Christopher Nevis Police Force, the parade will begin at Wigley Avenue. From there, it will proceed right onto Keon Street, straight onto Pond Road, then onto Frigate Bay Road, right onto Paul Southwell Drive, right again onto the Bay Road, finally making its way through 4th Street and West Independence Street.
the Bank of Nevis EBJ Harmonics Steel Orchestra has made history by securing their 5th consecutive championship at the First Federal Cooperative Credit Union and the Cable Panorama competition during Sugarmass 53. With an impressive score of 418 points, the orchestra showcased their exceptional talent, delivering a performance that resonated deeply with the audience and solidified their position at the pinnacle of steel pan music in the Federation. Achieving a 5-peat is a testament to the relentless dedication and artistry of the EBJ Harmonics Steel Orchestra. Their victory highlights the band's skill and profound synergy within the group, setting a benchmark for excellence in the steel pan community. Following them were the runners-up Nevis Community Development Steel Orchestra with 374 points and the Sugar City Steel Orchestra with 372 points, both delivering electrifying performances that added to the competition's vibrant atmosphere. In regional news, Guyana's president highlights growth of non-oil sector, Guyana News Source reports.
Reflecting on the country's economic performance as a new year beckons, President Irfan Ali on Sunday said that while a lot of attention has been focused on the oil and gas sector, the country's non-oil economy has grown by 41% since 2019. The president said while the booming oil and gas industry is fueling the country's economic growth, a large percentage of the national budget is being financed by the non-oil economy.
You will see that the non-oil GDP grew by 41%. 41% over the last 4 years. That is how the non-oil economy performed. That our policy focus, and this demonstrate that the investment that we are making in economic diversification is paying dividends. This is to show that we are on our way of building a dynamic economy, one that will be globally competitive, and one that is not stuck or overwhelmingly based on oil revenue.
The president attributed the growth of the non-oil economy to the agriculture, construction, and services sector.
Agriculture, over the last 4 years, 17% growth. Services, 28% growth. Construction, 138% growth. Mining and others, 153% growth. This shows you, and this tells a story about an economy that is performing in every sector, one that has seen growth in almost all of the main areas of economic expansion, diversification, and modernization.
And he also said the expansion of those sectors have resulted in increased job opportunities, particularly in the areas of agriculture, construction, and services, as more persons are engaged in agro-processing and the construction of homes and hotels.
Far exceed the 50,000 jobs that we would have committed to in the manifesto. The 138% construction growth is further segmented into household community growth, not only growth at the industrial and manufacturing level, or growth to the building of hotels and roads and office buildings, but growth at the household level, growth in home construction.
And although gold declarations, especially from small and medium-scale miners, have been under decline, the president said the mining sector, including the quarry sector, has seen a 153% growth rate. He said the growth in the non-oil economy has restored the private sector's confidence in the country's economy.
If you drive throughout the country, you'll see new factories, new processing plants, new housing schemes are all being invested in.
With increased growth in the economy and the expansion in various sectors, there is now an increase in the need for a foreign currency, even as the country's export earnings increase, the president said. He said this is as a result of growth in the mining and productive sectors, which oftentimes require the importation of equipment, such as agricultural and industrial machines, and materials to support the various sectors. The president anticipates that with increased investments by both the government and the private sector, even more growth and continued expansion of the country's economy are expected in the year ahead.
The National Workers' Union in St. Lucia is voicing dissatisfaction over recent announcements concerning wage increases for public sector employees. DBS St. Lucia has that story.
The National Workers' Union, the NWU, has made it clear that it has not accepted the wage increase announced by Prime Minister Philippe J. Pierre for public sector workers. In his announcement, the Prime Minister said that all unions had agreed to the 13% wage increase over a period of 6 years, and that an agreement had been reached on all allowances and benefits. The NWU has not agreed to any such thing, explains Embert Eugene, Junior Industrial Relations Specialist at the union. According to him, the NWU and the non-established daily paid workers, which it represents, were caught off guard by the announcement.
It made it a bit difficult for us in that we had a lot of members calling, questioning about how we could go ahead and accept a 13% increase without consultation with them. So that was the difficulty we had on our part. But as soon as we were able to clarify, as soon as we were able to make the shop stewards and everybody know that on our part we have not accepted a 13%, what we had to do and what our membership mandated is that we send a message across to affirm that the National Workers' Union have not accepted a 14% increase and that we are still in negotiations for our members.
Eugene has stressed that the workers are not just looking for a wage increase.
Like we said, it's ministry by ministry. So you're looking at persons who work in different departments and how different allowances would apply to them. So you're looking at things like uniform allowance, risk allowance, meal allowance, and all those other allowances. We're also looking at insurance because a lot of our workers are involved in different duties that are a bit risky. So we want to ensure that they're covered in case of some accident or incident at work. So it's a number of different things and not just a general wage increase.
In a letter sent to the government negotiating team, the GNT, on Friday, December 27th, the NWU outlined its disappointment in the announcement, stating that it would not be disrespected in the course of the negotiations. The letter noted that at the last sessions it had with the GNT between September and November, the discussion surrounded the NWU's proposals, with an expectation that the next time the two parties had dialogue, the GNT would provide its response. In its correspondence to the GNT, the NWU stated that it was given the GNT 14 days within which to get its act together for engagement with the NWU. The trade union has also stressed the negotiations are for the period 2022 to 2025 and not for 2 trienniums as announced.
Our members are pretty anxious and a bit irritated, very irritated, and they want us to meet and conclude the negotiations as soon as possible.
The National Workers' Union is the latest bargaining body for government employees to have come out to set the record straight regarding wage negotiations. Both the Police Welfare Association and the Correctional Services Welfare Association have explicitly stated that negotiations continue. On Monday, the GNT met with the association separately to continue discussions. For the DBS News World, Zaid Romulus reporting.
The U.S. Treasury Department said Chinese state-sponsored hackers broke into its systems in early December, according to a letter to lawmakers obtained by Reuters. The Treasury called the breach a major incident, saying department workstations were remotely accessed and documents were stolen. It said the hackers compromised third-party cybersecurity service provider Beyond Trust, gaining access to a key used by the vendor, and were able to retrieve unclassified documents. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Mao Ning on Tuesday called the claims groundless and lacking evidence. A spokesperson for the Chinese embassy in Washington also rejected any responsibility for the hack. The Treasury Department said it was alerted to the breach by Beyond Trust on December 8th, and that it was working with the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, as well as the FBI, to assess the breach's impact. Treasury officials did not immediately respond to an email seeking further details about the hack.
We now bring you these international reports.
The U.S. says it has conducted multiple airstrikes against what it calls Iran-backed Houthi targets in the Yemeni capital Sana'a and along the coast. It says its Navy ships and aircraft targeted a Houthi command center and weapons storage facility. Houthi forces are reporting at least 10 raids. There's been heavy exchange of fire between the Houthis and Israel in the past week. Israeli forces, the US and the UK have launched repeated bombing raids in Yemen in the past year. Mohammed Al-Attab is in Sana'a. Mohammed, talk us through these latest developments.
Yes, the U.S.-British coalition waged nearly 12 airstrikes just hours ago, where they have bombed the May 22nd military compound to the northeast of the capital Sana'a, with nearly 10 air raids. Also, they have bombed the Ministry of Defense that belongs to the Ansar Allah, and also which is known also as Al-Ordi military compound. But so far, they haven't revealed what are the impacts about these attacks. These attacks have been denounced by the Ansar Allah's spokesperson, Muhammad Abdul Salam, who described these attacks as a flagrant violation to a sovereign state. He called on the U.S. to put more pressure on Israel in order to put an end to its war in Gaza and also to lift its blockade, instead of supporting politically, economically, and military and also economically supporting Israel's, what he described, Israel's genocidal war in Gaza. He also made it clear that these attacks would not deter them to continue their support until the Israeli left of its blockade and also put an end to its war in Gaza. So these airstrikes have been waged after the Ansar Allah's military spokesperson Yahya Sari declared that they have attacked Israel's airport, Ben Gurion, and also that was in retaliation to the Israeli attack of Sana'a International Airport, and also they have attacked a power station, according to his declaration, southern Al-Quds. He made it clear also they have waged a wide-scale military operation in order to avert a U.S. and British coalition's wide-scale military operation that was going on last night. That started also with the U.S. and British waging nearly 2 air raids on an area called the Tuhaita, southern Al-Hudaydah. So far that we are witnessing an escalation between both sides, instead of so many observers believe that both sides should resort to ending this conflict by putting an end to the Israelis' war in Gaza and lifting its blockade, instead of this ongoing escalation in the region.
It's a relatively busy day at the Latakia container terminal. A steady stream of trucks bring items for export and return with other loads. The port lost traffic during the war in Syria as the Bashar al-Assad government was put under sanctions. The port handled nearly 8 million tons of cargo before 2011, which dropped to a trickle, mainly imports from Iran and Russia. Workers here hold the regime responsible for a lack of maintenance and declining prospects. The region is home to a large population of the Alawi minority community to which Assad belonged. Contrary to opinion in other parts of Syria, most of the Alawis did not support the Assad regime. Many from the community are desperate to show their dismay with the former and joy about the new administration.
Before the liberation, we faced many problems. Loading and unloading and everything at the port was extremely complicated. Loading a container like this could take up to 24 hours due to excessive bureaucracy. We were constantly seeking approvals. The queues were very long. Unloading my cargo would take 2 to 3 hours. I also had to spend between $30 and $40 on bribes. It was mandatory. There was no room for negotiation, and this was just the reality.
Truckers are happy to see entry and exit procedures becoming seamless, but the new administration has its challenges cut out to restore the port established in the early Roman era. It needs to streamline processes to comply with international law and improve infrastructure to support trade volumes. Most civil servants were underpaid, and many here say they were heavily involved in bribery and corruption. Allah knows the task ahead won't be easy for the new administration led by Ahmed al-Shara.
The infrastructure is quite fragile and ship unloading processes are slow. We also need to upgrade tools and equipment and change the record-keeping and administrative systems, because the old ways under the regime were inefficient.
Allah's vessel sails with a Panamanian flag, but here at the port, him and other Syrians are happy to share their newfound freedom.
There has been a significant change. Previously, I navigated ships to Turkey and Lebanon. Now I can take them to Syria, my own country. It's a great feeling.
This is one of the two most important ports in this country, and it feels like it has been neglected for decades. According to workers and sailors here, it will take years for things to become functional properly, but they're hopeful that things are changing for the better. Osama Mujawid, Al Jazeera, Latakia.
Officials in South Korea have acknowledged the design of the runway and the landing systems at WINN International Airport may have contributed to Sunday's fatal plane crash. Almost everyone on board the Jeju airliner died after it skidded off the end of the runway following that emergency landing. It smashed into the concrete platform housing a guidance system. The Boeing 737, which had remained intact until it hit that structure, then burst into flames. Some aviation experts have described that design as an accident waiting to happen. Our correspondent Rupert Wingfield-Hayes has the latest from WINN.
So we have now heard from the CEO of Jeju Air. The main thrust of his press conference in Seoul today was really to reach out to the families of those killed in the crash, to say that his company would help with funerals, that it is going to come up with some sort of compensation package for the families. That's something they have been talking about here over the last 2 days. It's the first time we've heard from the CEO since he came out and made an apology on Sunday. He was also reaching out to the Korean public saying, this is a safe airline. We have good training. We will strengthen our training. We will strengthen our safety checks. So it's really saying, you know, trying to rescue the reputation of his airline after this terrible disaster. What we didn't hear from him is anything about the investigation. And that's not surprising because the investigation still really is just getting underway. What we do know today is that a team has arrived from the United States, from the NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board, from the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and from Boeing, the company that manufactured the aircraft involved in this crash. A team of 7, they've arrived here in South Korea. We've seen them out on the field, on the crash site, inspecting the crash site. But the focus of the investigation is not going to be here. It is going to be on what are called the black box flight recorders that are inside the plane in every commercial aircraft. Those have been recovered. There is a there is a flight data recorder and there is a cockpit voice recorder. And what is recorded on those 2 devices, they'll have to retrieve the data and analyze it. And that's really going to be how they're going to find out what happened. What were the things that led to this, just in the last few minutes of this flight as it came in here, so many things going wrong and then leading to this terrible disaster.
One of Hollywood's most contentious divorces, spanning 8 years, has reached a settlement. The divorce of actors Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt was announced by her lawyer on Tuesday. The couple had been married for 2 years when she filed for divorce, but the relationship between 2 of the world's most well-known actors has provided steady fodder for the tabloid media for years.
I'm very excited for Brad. And I think
Jolie's lawyer said in a statement that the actress is, quote, exhausted, but relieved this one part is over. Acting on her behalf, lawyer James Simon said that a divorce settlement has been finalised, signed and filed with the court. No details of the settlement were immediately revealed. And Pitt's representatives did not immediately respond to a Reuters request for comment. Oscar-winning Jolie cited irreconcilable differences in the filing. She subsequently sought full physical custody of their 6 children. The filing triggered a bitter custody dispute, during which Pitt was investigated and cleared of child abuse. Both sides accused each other of trying to manipulate media coverage in their favour. The couple initially reached a custody decision through a private judge, granting equal custody of their children. Jolie was previously married to actors Johnny Lee Miller and Billy Bob Thornton. Pitt was married to actor Jennifer Aniston in 2003, when he and Jolie filmed Mr. and Mrs. Smith, the story of assassins unknowingly assigned to kill each other. There were reports of an affair, but Jolie told Vogue they were only very good friends until Pitt and Aniston split.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were: police warn of risks associated with marijuana-infused edibles in St. Kitts and Nevis. EBJ Harmonics Steel Orchestra clinches 5th consecutive title at Sugar Mass 53 Panorama. Guyana's president highlights growth of non-oil sector. The National Workers' Union in St. Lucia is voicing dissatisfaction over recent announcements concerning wage increases for public sector employees. Internationally, Yemen's Houthis defiant after new U.S. strikes. Thank you for listening.